Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing today?
Oh, well, it's fortunately there was a cooling down period after the game. You were at the game, and it took you about an hour to get home here. So there was this little cooling down period, and I've had something to eat, and I was watching some hockey drill videos, and I kind of forgot the game for a while. So I'm doing a lot. I'm in a much better mood than I was about an hour ago, Bruce. This was the Oilers have shot themselves in the foot so much this year they have no toes left. They have given away in the last two games 3 points that easily were within their grasp. And, what struck me in this game after they tied it in the third period to make it 3-3, they lost 4-3 to the Ducks in the end.
In regulation.
After they tied it 3-3, I was thinking, the Oilers, maybe they've done it. They've come all the way back. And then I just had this other thought immediately, like, no, this team just has a way of giving away goals against in its own zone. And that's that could well happen. And of course it did. So what was it like at the rink?
Very exasperating, David. I mean, I paid good money for that ticket, and I didn't feel like I got a very honest effort from the team for the first half of the game, which is never good.
Bingo. Yeah.
And then when they decided to turn it up a bit, because I don't think they gave their opponent respect. At least that's how this game played out for the first. What was it? I mean, I think it was like late in the second where they finally scored to make it 3-2, and then they got a whole series of power plays, and they were able to tie the game. But one hugely careless play in the defensive zone, and a whole lot of plays that just didn't work out because Anaheim always had 5 guys in front of their net, not one guy or 0 guys. 5 guys, and Edmonton was peppering them. They were getting in, but they were always getting in, not getting many clean looks out of it. And Anaheim is not a very good team, but guess what? They're an NHL team, and on a day where you gift them 2-3 goals, their goalie plays lights out. Guess what? They can beat you, and they can hurt you, and they hurt me as a fan today. I was very upset watching this game. And I mean, the Oilers probably deserved to tie it with the great effort they made down the stretch. But where the hell was that effort in the first half of the game? It's like, well, we just go through the motions here, and we're going to beat these guys easily. It's like another Coyotes game,
It's like a Wile E. Coyote game. All right, Bruce, let's do our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers for this game. What's your good thing?
Okay. Well, I'm going to single out Edmonton's, in my view, right at this moment, Edmonton's best defenseman, Tyson Barrie, who I thought had a strong game on the blue line. He was really good at keeping the puck in the zone, which is one of his specialties. He was good at moving the puck. He was firing shots. He had 6 on net. He had 5 more that didn't get through that thicket of Anaheim players. He had yet another assist in this game. And he's now up to 25 points on the season through 32 games. And I thought defensively he was sound, like he didn't seem to get into any kind of trouble in his defensive zone. I haven't had a chance to check scoring chances yet. How did he do on that front?
Yeah, he kept a clean sheet at even strength. I think he was the only Oilers defenseman to do so. Not one major mistake on a grade A shot against. So I gave him the highest grade of any Oilers D-man. I gave him a 7, and I thought he played a good game. I agree with you, Bruce. And I think that pairing's not been great. They were good when they first came together. Then they had a few rough games more recently.
Yeah.
But that game they were good, and Tyson Barrie was good again. So. He certainly didn't. He wasn't the cause of that loss. Not even close.
Yeah. Oh no. He was. generally speaking, are positive in this game, and that's more than you can say about some of their other D-men.
Indeed, and we will get to that. All right, my good thing, Bruce, was Connor McDavid.
Okay.
He had 2 points. He was, first of all, he was one of the few Oilers who came out of the gates playing fairly well. He wasn't supernatural. In the third period, he was supernatural, godlike presence on the ice, willing his team to victories like Patroclus and Achilles' armor. He was, but he did come out fast and hard, and he set up Hyman for an early harpoon right at the side of the net, and it was deflected over the net at the last second. He was a bit slow to move to the point on the PK goal, second goal. That was a little bit on McDavid, but he charged in late in the first, put one off the crossbar. Bruce, the Oilers had 23 grade A shots in this game to 8 for the Ducks, 23-8. Connor McDavid made a major contribution to 18 of the 23 grade A shots. So he's almost single-handedly in many ways. There was a few other players who I thought came along for the ride, and a few played well. Like I like Nugent Hopkins' game. I like Tyson Barrie's game. There's a few players who played well, but McDavid was just, I would have given him a 10, but he just didn't have, he did make the mistake on the one power play goal for the Ducks, and he didn't get the puck luck, but he could have easily had 4, 5, 6 points in that game off that many major contributions to grade A shots. And the breakdown was he had 2 major contributions in the first, 5 in the second, and 11 in the third period. 11. One period, 11. Most players in their entire career will not have 11 contributions to a grade A shot in a game. Like, there's very few Oilers who will ever. Nuge might do that once. Nuge may have done that once.
An entire game, yeah.
In the entire game. So Hyman might do it once a year, maybe, if that. Kane. Draisaitl does it, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times a year. And McDavid does it, a dozen times a year. Gets more than 10. But he did 11 in one period. So, wow.
That's pretty unreal. I mean, the Ducks were really playing hang-on Harvey hockey there in the third period for sure. But
yeah, they grabbed hold of him.
They did.
So he, on the 2 goals that he was involved in, one was in the second period. He was in the power play, and he took it into the slot. As I think I'm trying to think, he got a slot shot, and Nuge jumped on the rebound and slammed that home. And then his own goal was actually quite a beautiful play by Leon Draisaitl, such a heads-up pass. The puck went down to Draisaitl on the power play on his shooting spot, which is on the right side, the right dot. And he just held the puck, watched, and he put it right onto McDavid's stick, and it was a tabletop hockey goal. He just slammed it in. It was a beautiful, beautiful goal to tie the game. He kept coming and coming and coming. Hyman got a couple good chances off one of his rushes. It's so impressed. He would just find the smallest of holes in the Ducks defense and just power through them. Just exploit it for all it was worth. And they had no answer to him. We've heard that expression before. They really didn't have an answer to him by the third period. They were left either taking a penalty or allowing him to get a grade A shot. He started to drain of energy in the last 5 minutes, I thought. He played, I think, about 4 of those last 5 minutes. That whole group of players.
25 minutes and 30 seconds again today.
Yeah, and so I think it was
29.
The last shift. The last shift for all the top players was about 4 minutes, and they just were drained by the end, and they couldn't get it done. So, but that was a great effort by Connor McDavid. He should have been rewarded with a victory, and not to be.
Well, he drew both penalties that led to the 5-on-3 in the third period, and then he scored the tying goal on the 5-on-3. And so you think at that point, well, it's 3-3, and they're bringing it, but his unfortunately mates let him down.
It sure did. What is your bad thing, Bruce?
Bad
Or
thing?
I should go first because
No,
we'll do it in chronological order then.
yeah, you go first.
Listen, Darnell Nurse had a terrible game last game. He made mental mistakes that were absolutely critical all game long last game. This game wasn't as bad as that, but there was one play where he had a total meltdown, and it's hard to know what to make of it because it was completely unforced, the whole thing. All he had to do was make two simple fundamental plays, and there's no goal. Anaheim doesn't score. If Anaheim doesn't score that first goal, they're probably never in this game, really. Like, this is not a very good team. And but he let them in the game with his mistakes. And the first play, it comes around the boards to him, and instead of looking up, he just slams it up the boards, heads down, and it's picked off. It's a turnover. When the puck came to him, all he had to do was stop it and have a look. Just get your head up, man. Be a heads-up player. Be an NHL hockey player in that moment. Get your head up. Don't make that mental mistake of just firing the puck without looking. And you will see there's two Ducks there, and it's going to be a hard play getting it past them. Then you just reverse it. You just stop and reverse it. I don't know what's going on with him. Like, he is a veteran player who's better than this. So then there's a turnover, right? Immediately a turnover, and the Ducks take it into the slot. And the Duck attacker, I can't remember who it was, he goes into the slot, and Cody Ceci's on him. Cody Ceci moves out towards that player and is on that player. And all Darnell Nurse has to do, there's only two Ducks down there. He's got to take the other one. All he has to do is take the other guy who's down by the net. And what does he do? He charges out to the guy. This is so often the case. People get tunnel vision after a turnover, and they just want to win the puck back. And he charges out towards Ceci and the Ducks attacker with the puck, trying to single-handedly reverse this mistake instead of just letting Ceci deal with it, lifting the stick of his own man, which would have been really easy to do. He was not moving. He was just standing there. He tries to save the day, tries to do too much, and the pass goes through Ceci. Darnell Nurse is way out of position, and it doesn't even go through him because he's so far out of position, and there's a goal scored. These are two hideous mental mistakes, Bruce. And I'm not down on Darnell Nurse. I wrote a post today that he's actually having a pretty good season overall this year. When we track grade A shots in his defensive play, overall this year, he's doing better than last year. He's cut down on a rate basis his major mistakes on grade A shots against. But man, these last few games, handful of games, he is I don't know what's going on, but that this isn't acceptable hockey from Darnell Nurse. Really isn't. And I wouldn't have been like, I don't know, if he had been benched after that goal, after the first mistake, I would have been okay with that. Bench him for the rest of the period. Like, think about it. Start playing hockey. I guess I'm a little bit angry.
Yeah, well, I mean, after the turnover, I mean, he obviously was trying to clear the zone, but I'd say there were other options, and I think he's just trying to get it hard out of the zone, and that failed. But the recovery from the turnover was not good at all. I mean, the guy cuts across the slot, and as you say, he's cutting right into Ceci's zone, and Darnell comes in behind Ceci, and he goes down on one knee, trying to cut out I'm not sure what he was trying to cut out, whether it was the shot. Anyway, the guy just passed it over to the guy on the left edge of the crease from the defenseman's point of view. In other words, the left defenseman's guy, who is wide open to tap it home. I mean, I'm sitting at the far end in the high blues, so I'm 300 feet away from that goal, and I'm just going, you could just see it all coming, and Darnell just chased the puck and forgot about the guy who was going to put the puck in the net. It's kind of the D-man's job, and that was very disheartening. He'd scored the first goal, and you think, okay, maybe he's going to get his stuff together this game, and then right away that.
I think I'm actually pretty and maybe people who listen to this podcast will correct me, but I think I'm pretty forgiving of the defenseman. I often say hockey happens fast. It
Mm-hmm.
really does, and especially at the NHL level, it's just blindingly fast. But that was kind of a slow developing play, and all he had to do, like it wasn't like he just had to read it. He just had to calmly. I know he's in reaction mode, but he just had to. He had all the time in the world to make the right play, and he didn't. He just was drawn to a to the puck like a mosquito to a mosquito zapper. All right, now we'll get into some more mental errors by defensemen. And, well, one execution error, maybe a mental error, but anyway, what's your bad thing, Bruce?
My bad thing is Dave Manson's other major project. And I think Nurse is one at this point. And Evan Bouchard, who had two, I'd say, horrendous giveaways on the third and fourth goals. And the third one was just a straight giveaway, a soft little backhand pass along the offensive blue line that Ryan Strome just intercepted, and it was like a pick six. He was gone. And Bouchard's only chance was that Stuart Skinner would make a save, which I don't think he ever did in this game. Didn't seem like. And Strome buried that chance to make it. So that's an execution error. But, a cutesy little backhand pass without recognizing the danger. So that was bad enough. That made it 3-1. And that's kind of when the riot act, I think, got a little bit red. The coach changed up the line combinations and the defense pairings right in the middle of the second period there. And Oilers started to come alive, and of course they got the power plays, and they got 2 power play goals to tie it up. And so now the game is stable at 3-3, and then Bouchard has this shift from hell in the third period, where again he makes a soft, this time in his own zone, tries to make a soft little cutesy pass to Nugent Hopkins like 5 feet away from him. Nuge wasn't expecting it, and that pass went astray. So Anaheim got control, and they got all 2 of their third period shots on the subsequent sequence. There was a shot from the left wing that Skinner stopped, not a dangerous shot from like over by the boards. And then the puck went over to the boards on the right side where John Klingberg was waiting for it. And Evan Bouchard, the right defenseman, goes and stands directly in front of Stuart Skinner on the left side, so out of position. And honestly, David, you can go to NHL.com and click the little arrow by the 4-3 goal on the box score, and that'll show you a highlight of that goal. And it starts with a still frame, and the still frame shows Klingberg with the puck on his stick with a direct line from the puck to the net. And you can see Evan Bouchard, and behind him, you can see just the pads and outer extremities of Stuart Skinner. Like Skinner cannot see a single thing. The shot that Klingberg fires from like 50 feet, but because the goalie can't see it, it's either going. I mean, it's not. It had no chance of even hitting Skinner through the screen. It was either going to hit Bouchard or it was going to miss both of them. And there was nobody around him. It wasn't like he was fighting a guy off at the edge of the crease or battling for position. He was just standing there, like, hello, this is the NHL. Anyway, just terrible. So again, it's just like the other night, right? Nurse made the brutal turnover, and then he made a bad play after the turnover to not cover the guy who scored the goal. And this is the same thing here, where Bouchard made the bad turnover, and then he went and screened his own goalie. Damn, that was a hockey game. Like, it cost him the game.
I'm just as hard on Bouchard for the screen, the total
Oh
clips of the
yeah,
sunscreen, but on
absolutely.
the turnover, I think Nuge should have had his stick on the ice and should have been ready for that. It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that difficult or tricky a pass. Nuge should have got that pass, I think. And so I'll say the turnovers on both of them, but it's also on Nuge. It was right on his stick, Bruce. He just wasn't ready for it. So you should be ready for a pass in your own zone. Like, he wasn't in such an awkward position where he couldn't have got it. Watch the replay and see if you agree.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, Bouch had the puck, and all of a sudden he shuffled it to the side. And anyway, Nuge may well have not been able to handle the pass, but I didn't like the reason for the pass. Like,
fair enough. And you know what I think can happen with both Nurse and Bouchard is a lack of confidence can lead to bad things happening, right? Like
Yep.
your nurse and the puck starts to be a hot potato. So as soon
Mm-hmm.
as you get it, you're making a forceful play up the boards, right? Like he didn't do
Mm-hmm.
in the last game. All he had to do was make the forceful play up the boards, ice the puck. Maybe that's it. He's thinking, I'm going to make forceful plays up the board so
Right.
that when the first times he gets it, he does that,
Uh,
which is what it was, and it just hits the wrong guy, hits the wrong thing, and it's in the slot and then in the net.
it's
And then
what they do afterwards.
yeah,
That's
and then
the
as
problem.
Bouchard, the puck's a bit. I've just turned over the puck on a crappy little pass. I'm just again, it's like lack of confidence in his passing that I just want to get rid of the puck. Maybe that's going on a little bit with both of them. I think things can snowball
Mm-hmm.
like that as a player. You got 17,000 angry or 34,000 angry eyes on you at the arena, and you've already everyone's just waiting to stick the knife in you because they're so mad and angry. So maybe all those flashing knives in the audience are
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
little bit blinding. It could be that it would be very human if that was the case. But then to break out of that is not easy. But they're professional athletes. They got to work through it.
Now that I've coughed up the puck, I know I'm going to go and try and play goal and make the save
Down on
because I'm
one
a
knee, as you say.
goalie.
Yeah,
Both of
Jason
them.
Strudwick. Jason Strudwick. Was listening to him the other day. He made it just. He doesn't like defensemen going down like that.
Mm-hmm.
And although it worked, I think very often for Chris Russell, who's a little lower to the ice and a bit more agile than Nurse. I think Russell was up and down quicker than Darnell Nurse, if I'm not mistaken
Mm-hmm.
about this. When Nurse goes down, he kind of stays down, whereas Russell, to me, he had some. I never got upset with the Russell Starfish like a lot of people did. I thought, generally speaking, Russell got it right, going down to block shots.
Way
He
more
had a
often
better
than I got it
reading of the
wrong.
game. I think he had more success than Nurse does going down. Darnell Nurse has very limited success going down. He's so big and lanky. I just think he'd be way better off if he decided, okay, I'm not going to do that unless now and then in extreme situations, I'm going to stay on my feet. And but anyway, that's between him and his coach. I don't know what the coach would. He's had a lot of coaches who've seen him go
Mm-hmm.
down like that now. Like he's had he's been doing it for a while. I don't know if he always did it, but Playfair was his coach. Who was McClellan's defenseman D coach? And now he's got Manson. I can't remember who taught McClellan's and Hitchcock's. Who was Hitchcock's defense coach? Bruce, do you remember?
Oh man.
Was it Huddy? No.
No,
Uh,
no.
no,
It certainly wasn't Huddy.
who was McClellan's? Was it
Was
Wood? Wasn't Woodcroft? Um,
no, no.
oh,
Woodcroft was
Johnson, Jim Johnson.
Jim Johnson. That's it.
Yeah. So he's had
Yeah.
a
No.
number of coaches to work with him on
Mm-hmm.
this, and he gets. I think he still gets pro training from Adam Oates, but Adam Oates is probably more working on him with the puck control
Mm-hmm.
stuff other than
Yeah.
defensive tactics. Bruce,
Yeah.
what's your number?
I'm going to go with 43%, which in the game the Oilers dominated in many the statistical categories. 43% on the faceoff circle, 29 wins, 38 losses, and it just seemed like a wretched series of losses of important faceoffs on the power play, late in the game, or in the O or D zone. And let's see what they got here for the game. 45% in the offensive zone, 31% in the D zone, 50% on the neutral zone faceoffs that matter the least. And Leon Draisaitl had a very tough game in 31% at even strength, just 43% on the actually 38% on the power play. And just seems like just too many times, like, they've earned the face-off in the attacking zone. I mean, 33 of them. And just time and again, they'd lose that draw and the puck would get dumped out and they'd have to reset. And I just thought this was an area of weakness for Edmonton in this game. And Devon Shore was 0-5 on the dot. Connor McDavid was 4 wins, 10 losses. Like, it was a team-wide issue. And they, in a game where, they had lots of possession, but ultimately they ran out of time. And I couldn't count how many times I lost 15 seconds because I lost the draw and it got dumped out and they had to go out for the reset. And down the stretch, it just seemed to become more and more obvious. They attack our end for first and third periods, and they dropped the puck. The Ducks would win the face-off, and Bruce would swear, and it happened over and over again.
Devon Shore should be out of the lineup now, and he's not. He's not coming close to getting it done as an NHL player right now,
No.
And he hasn't for some time. So
yeah, they took out Hamblin. They left Shore in when Fogle came back.
That's a hard thing to say about a player, but I think it's. I haven't said it until now.
I would have kept Hamblin in myself.
I would have kept Hamblin and go back.
Shore in this game. I mean, he only played 5 minutes because he didn't really earn a lot of ice time. No shot attempts. And 0 for 5 on the face-off dot. 1 hit, 1 giveaway. That's his entire body of work in this game.
There was one play that I remarked on in the game grades. He got the puck at the blue line. He won the puck. And there was a player in the offensive end, and he just skated in anyway. His head was down. He didn't look. He didn't wait. He just, again, lack of confidence. Lack of confidence, lack of heads-up play. His heads-down play is killing the Oilers.
They called that deliberate offside. I think that's the one where they wound up taking the face-off all the way back to Edmonton's zone because it was obvious to everyone in the rink except Devon Shore, apparently.
And again, these are highly skilled NHL hockey players. These are all fabulous hockey players. But he's not at the same level as the other players on the Oilers, and he's not finding a way. What I guess here's what I would say: if Devon Shore does get back in the lineup, Devon Shore better start hitting, because he is not doing anything else. He better just as ferociously and as aggressively and as constantly as he can. He should start taking the body, because he is not doing anything else at this point, that I can see that's warranting a job in the lineup. So that would be my advice to Shore is crank that up, and maybe because he has played okay in the past. Like there's been some games where he's been good, and he's some stretches where he's been good. That's not now, and he's got to find a way to help out, and he's not doing it.
What's your number, David? I know your clock's ticking on you here.
Oh yeah, I got some rants. I had too many rants here. My number is 1 and 9. And it refers to the major contributions that Leon Draisaitl made to grade A shots in this game. 1 at even strength, 9 on the power play. On the power play, Leon was sublime. He is such a fantastic kind of half-court player, like in the offensive,
here he is.
In the offensive end. There's probably no one better once the puck's in the offensive end in the power play, on the power play, because of both of his ability to shoot and pass. He's uniquely, a two-skill threat at such a high level, and he showed that off tonight. He got off the executioner shot. It was unbelievable save by the goalie on that one. He made the beautiful pass to McDavid, as I've already said. But just one major contribution
on both goals, he made a beautiful pass to McDavid. The one where Nuge wound up banging it in, and the one where McDavid himself finished the play. Those were both great passes out of the right corner by Draisaitl.
That's correct. Yeah, he went diagonal to McDavid on the Nuge goal through the slot. So but at even strength, so he was struggling defensively before they put him on McDavid's wing, and since then he's been doing okay defensively, and he's been great on the attack at even strength. This game, though, he was part of many players. So I'm not singling him out on this. There was many players who came out slow and not skating. He was one of them. And when he did move to his own line, I thought he picked it up, and he was a little bit better. It was a good wake-up call for him to break him up with McDavid, which was the right call from Jay Woodcroft at that point. So I thought he played a bit better, but and maybe I don't know what they're going to do next game. They had some success against Nashville with McDavid and Draisaitl on the same line. They may go back to that. He may be battling through some injuries. I've heard all kinds of speculation about that. But about Leon is a slow, like in terms of the Oilers being a slow starting team, part of this is on Leon, because he himself is a slow starter and he often winds it up during the game. Now, and it's about 1 in 3 games. And this was one of them where he just didn't have it going on, and finally got it going on due to multiple power play chances where he is brilliant.
Yeah, well, both he and Connor are slow starters. I mean, Connor's got 60 points this year, and I'm just looking up the scoring log. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 of them in the first period, 10 out of 60, right? You expect closer to a third, maybe not quite. And Leon is much the same. He's got 52 points. This is before today, and today they both picked up points in the second and third period and none in the first. So more of the same. So Leon's now up to 54 points, and he just has 9 in the first period. So both of them are, they pick it up as the game goes along, which you'd rather have it that way than the other way around. But they're slow starters, and that I think that reflects a little bit on the team, and maybe it's the other team's defensive intensity starts to wait. They come out checking as hard as they can against those guys, and it takes a while to sort of work through that. Anyway, it's just a weird little thing.
So they got 17 wins and 15 losses, and very few loser points.
One, and even that one tastes like spilled milk,
Sure does.
So I'm getting nothing at all out of a home game against the Ducks, where the Oilers were at home and the Ducks were flying in from Montreal with their 32nd place defensive record and their 31st place offensive record, having to use their third string goalie because their first two are injured. That's not a game you expect to lose. And shots of 49-17 notwithstanding, that tells us who is the better team. But the scoreboard tells us something different, that the home team, despite being the better team, couldn't finish their shots and they couldn't defend their own goal on
Do you think it's
occasions.
Time for a trade, Bruce? I don't think Holland will make a trade, by the way. But I've been saying patience, and I'm not so sure. I don't know. Like, if you could get the right left side defenseman, maybe it is the moment to make that deal. I'm not.
Well, we've got the Christmas trade freeze coming right up in a couple days, and I'd be surprised if we did anything before then. But we'll see. I mean, this coming out of this homestand with 1 point is a bitter pill from the management on down. And honestly, David, I have fingers to point at everybody from the management on down. Some disappointing with some of the coaching decisions, disappointed with some of the player performance. It's just needs to be better. And the team is just not deep enough that you've got, again today, McDavid 25 minutes, Nugent Hopkins 25 minutes, Draisaitl nearly 27 minutes, Hyman 26 minutes. You got 4 forwards. They're playing the crap out of those guys, and they got a whole bunch of guys at 8, 5, 9, 9. It's just way too lopsided. And whether that's coach not trusting the lower players or over relying on the top players, or whether it's management not providing deep enough talent. And a little bit it's injuries, but today they had Fogle back. They're really only missing now 2 guys, Kane and McLeod. And guess what? The other team was missing their top 2 goalies, for Pete's sake. So we can't be leaning on injuries as an excuse. So anyway, enough about that. I know you got to go.
Yeah. All right, Bruce. Well, let's leave it there. Thanks for talking tonight.
Monday night, Nashville.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast. Let me just hit the right button.